Hi, I'm Nikki Munitz, and this is my podcast, Come to Mind. I have a guest tonight that I'd like to call a colleague and a friend, that we have invested loads of time and energy into his vision and passion, and I've just been really grateful to be a part of it. And I'd like to take this opportunity to let him kind of tell the world how his vision came about and what's actually going on. But I'm going to start by letting him introduce himself.
How's it, Nikki? I'm Alan Freeman from Freeman House Recovery, and thank you for having me on your podcast.
It's my pleasure. It's great to have you here.
Nice to be here.
So I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
I'm going to start where we are, and then maybe we can work backwards. So Tell us about, what is Freeman House Recovery?
Freeman House Recovery is an idea I had, a dream I had when I was in the early stages of my recovery, still pretty early stage of my recovery, to open up a rehab for men only, a high-end luxury rehab, kosher food, a little bit out of Joburg, with a bit of a view, with a bit close to nature, with all the amenities of that I felt were lacking. So, the extras, yoga, gym, strength training, and obviously with the best team available. Now, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor, and I'm very new at this, but my headspace is that you don't need to be a mechanic to own a motor dealership. You just need the best mechanics, and you need to know your way around the car a little bit. But so I've kind of, had that approach, and I've hired the very, very best mechanics in the game. And you obviously being my chief mechanic, and that's pretty much what Freeman House is about.
So tell us about your journey of how you landed up going into treatment and a bit of your backstory, just so that I'd love people to understand that this was not just, let me open a rehab. This was something more than that.
So my history is I've been an alcoholic for 37 years. Work-wise, I kind of created my job spec around my alcoholism. So I went into the hospitality, nightclub, bar industry. I ran 16 venues over 26 years. And I don't know if the word functional alcoholic is the right thing, but I kept my head above water for most of it. Towards the end of last year, for me, I hit rock bottom, and I decided to make a change. I decided enough was enough. I'd had enough to drink. I wanted to reboot my computer. I wanted to start fresh, but I didn't know how. So I checked into rehab in Feb last year. I went to a place in Plettenberg Bay called Twin Rivers. I had an amazing experience. People speak about spiritual awakenings. People speak about epiphanies. For me, it happened just before I went into rehab. And I walked in there and I said, guys, I want to stop drinking. I want to stop this life, but I didn't know how. So in 35 days, they gave me the tools that I feel have helped me to get to where I am now, and I've got a long way to go. I obviously knew that I couldn't. After rehab, I went into the lockdown, the first lockdown. I think it was the 5th or 6th of March, I'm not sure. I was in my parents' house, and I started thinking, fine, I'm sober, I'm in recovery, but I've got bills to pay, and I've got kids to feed, and I've got school fees, etc., etc.
And owning a bar might not be the best.
Owning a bar wasn't going to be the greatest idea, or running events, or managing bands, or doing that. I thought to myself, what am I good at? I'm good with people. I'm good at management. I'm good at hospitality and catering. I also looked at what I would have changed, and I'm not putting the rehab down that I went to in any way, shape, or form. But I thought to myself, what would I change? What would I do different to what they did? Or how would I add to that experience and make it better? So I came up with the concept of Freeman House, and that's pretty much, it's now, I'm a year, 1 week sober. I'm pretty proud of myself.
We're pretty proud of you too.
I'm pretty happy with where I am, and we opened up on the 4th of Jan, and it has surpassed my expectations tenfold, thanks to you guys and the team, and just also, the guys that have come in. It's an amazing feeling to help people, to change people's lives for the better, please God. And I wake up in the morning and I can look myself in the mirror, I can look in my eyes and I can say, my kids are proud of me, my folks are proud of me, I've made new friends, and it's been an amazing experience and journey so far.
So, there's two things that kind of really stand out. I saw a picture of you, I don't know if you had just gone into rehab or maybe just before you went into rehab, and you looked so ill.
I was ill.
And before we started this, we were chatting about how you're trying to rope me into doing this triathlon with you guys, and just the difference, the focus on health and a full recovery, not just a recovery from addiction, but with your body as well. Yeah,
well, for me I was sick. I wasn't eating. I was drinking 2 bottles, sometimes more a day. My sleep I wasn't sleeping. I was lying in bed, but I wasn't sleeping. I was avoiding the world. I've always, so when I got out of treatment, I went into lockdown and I started running around the tennis court and I started doing pull-ups and I started feeling physically better about myself. My appetite came back. I started sleeping, which was amazing. And I think, at Freeman House, what we're trying to add, obviously, is all of the physical activities, nothing too hectic that anybody's going to injure themselves. It's all done in quite a controlled environment with the best professionals in those fields. So we do yoga, we do fitness training, which I take the guys for. We do strength training, we do Krav Maga, which is a Israeli martial arts, teaching guys to defend themselves, which I think is also very important. A lot of the time, and I'm not saying in an aggressive way, but self-defense is an important aspect, feeling good and confident about yourself. So, carry on.
So, we'll talk about the team and the therapeutic part and how we met. But I just want to acknowledge when you and I first did meet and I came out to see the property, my strength is not having the vision that you do. Okay. And I just it's one thing to kind of acknowledge the program, but I think the dream of what you saw and how you've created it needs to be acknowledged as well.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
So can we just talk about that story?
Okay, so sure. I don't even know when the idea came to me, hard at Beresford. But I needed something out of Joburg. I wanted something close enough to Joburg that I can still see my kids and I can still see my family, but something a little bit out of town. I saw a bunch of properties in Hard at Beresford, and the one we chose at the end of number 7 Cloister Street was the one we chose. We got it at a very good deal because it was, through the COVID situation, and maybe through my experience in nightclubs and bars, and I have a bit of a vision. I can see something and say,
could you see it?
Yeah, I saw it and I said, this is what I want it to look like, So, because at the time when we took it over, it was pretty, old school 80s.
Never mind that, you had to walk through a shower to get outside.
Yeah, we had to walk through. It was pretty old school's 80s game reserve kind of feel. And so we got rid of their furniture. We did quite a few renovations, gave it a paint job and some tiles and new bathrooms. And I think, it's a pretty decent job we did.
I've worked in the treatment industry for a long time, and I have seen many treatment centers, and I still it takes my breath away every time I come there. To stand on that balcony and with the furniture and just taking the view, we want our clients to be able to meditate and connect with themselves. And I swear, if that could be the most perfect place on earth to do that.
So I lived there for a few months before we actually opened, and I was a little bit sad to move out. The view is something spectacular. In fact, we've got a client in at the moment who refers to it as the last resort.
I like that.
Yeah.
I really like that. So I don't even remember when we met.
We might have known each other for years and years and years,
Oh,
but
yes.
I think we met right in the beginning when it was just an idea. We hadn't bought the property yet. I picked you up outside your house. We hit it off from the beginning. We started chatting. I was a little bit nervous, but we got to know each other on the drive there. You kind of got my idea, my vision, and you completely got me. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I had to bullshit or make any fake. You know, a lot of people might think the fact that I'm brand new in this, and I'm also brand new sober, that I'm a fraud. But you kind of picked up right away, because I think a lot of people do come out of rehabs and say, I'm going to open up a rehab. You know, you kind of got me and said, no, you know, this guy's for real, and let's do this thing.
For sure. And I suppose the same from your side, you know.
100%, 100%. No, 100%. You know, I actually went and not interviewed, but I asked a few people in the industry what they thought of my idea, if they'd get involved with me, and most people like just brushed me off like, oh yeah, another guy. But as soon as you and I hooked up and I completely got you, and it turns out that our story goes back, you know. So
Sure.
no, it's
Yeah, so like I think I walked in and I saw the property and I didn't know you, and I just like the vision. I kind of knew how to put a program together, but I didn't know that it was going to turn out this way.
the program.
Well, everything, it's kind of turned out way better than I anticipated.
Well, definitely. Yeah.
And like it's just been such a blessing to be a part of it.
Jeez, you're gonna make me cry.
But I want to ask you something. Being in recovery versus being on the back end, what's the difference for you?
Being in recovery as opposed to
Like the back end of a treatment center, do you know what I mean? Like you get to see what goes on behind the scenes. Like what people see in rehab is like the counselor sitting in group.
there's a hell of a lot of work. There's a hell of a lot of. I'm learning every single day, and I'm loving it every single day. You know, I've started studying. I mean, it's going to be tough for me. I've picked up a book now for the first time
That's
since
so
I was
cool.
17 years old, so it's quite exciting. Yeah, I'm just, I love going to work every single day. I wake up and I'm, you know, when I had the clubs and the bars, I was the first one there and the last one to leave, but that's for completely different reasons.
Sure.
Now, I love going to work. I get excited to get to work, and I don't want to leave at the end of the day. I'm just, you know, and I'm enjoying spending time with the guys as well. I'm not too friendly. I'm learning, you know, boundaries and what I can say and what I can't say. Every day is a new experience, but it's just such a nice feeling to, you know, when somebody who's in recovery, who knows they need help and they appreciate the help you're giving them, and they look at you and they say, thank you. It's like, wow, you know, nothing can top that.
And like the part that I'm most grateful for is, I know we've made like jokes sometimes about, you know, that this is, you're so green, you know, that things happen in the, like behind the scenes, and you're like, why is it happening like this? And, you know, why did the patient say that? And like for me, it's been like refreshing, because I get like, you get compassion fatigue when you've worked in this industry for a long time, and to work with someone like you that is seeing everything through fresh eyes, like I can't even tell you what it does to someone like me.
So yeah, I mean, I am green, I'm brand new, and I would imagine that after years and years you would not necessarily see it as just a numbers game, but you have seen everything, you know, as I'm seeing things from the other side. I used to be the guy that got people drunk. I used to be the guy that facilitated the environment where people used and abused drugs. I used to almost, and now to be on the other end of the spectrum is it's an amazing experience every day, and learning from you guys, you know, and you know, the empathy that you show and the compassion and the way, but at the same time, you're a hard ass when you need to be. You know what I mean? Like the respect that you generate when you walk into a room, when the counselors walk into a room, it's like, wow, you know, I'm blown away.
Yeah. So what's been like your favorite part so far?
I like the dogs, hey? The favorite part, I think just one or two of the, you know, the thank yous, not the thank yous, the fact that we're making a difference, and I couldn't quantify it and say that day or this moment. I can definitely tell you some of my most unfavorite parts.
Well, I was going to ask you that too.
There've been a couple of unfavorite parts, but I don't know, I'll come back to it. But every day. Today was great. Yesterday was great. So it's getting better.
Sure. So, without getting too descriptive, what have been some of your most difficult moments so far? And note I say so far.
Okay, so far, and I'm not going to name names because I'm brand new at this, and I need to maybe develop a bit of a thicker skin, like you call. I'm going to use that term, green. But we are dealing with addicts, and we are dealing with sick people, fortunately and unfortunately, and sometimes their behavior and their reaction to things. And their reaction to me has been once or twice a little bit, I wouldn't say off-putting, but hurtful.
Sure.
In the olden days at the clubs, when somebody caused trouble or called you a name, you threw them out. Now, the polar opposite, we're not throwing them out, we're keeping them in.
Those are the ones that need more help.
Exactly, we're keeping them in. So, but I'm definitely every day getting more attuned to what we're doing, how we're doing it, and I think one of the amazing, without once again disrespecting any of the other facilities, the fact that I'm fresh and new and I've got an empathy and I like look at it from a brand new perspective, I think will really stand us in good stead. I think it's we've got the best team. So.
Have you learned anything new about yourself through this process?
Well, just being sober, I learn something new every day.
Sure.
I've learned. I've definitely, and it's not just there's so many sayings in recovery, but I've honestly got an attitude of gratitude. Mm-hmm. I've definitely learned, or not even learned, because I and not have faith. I believe in a higher power. I believe that somebody's got my back out there, because every single day has been a blessing. Every single day things go right. And, in my active addiction, I was permanently petrified and worried and concerned and sleepless. And, I had such a feeling of doom and gloom, and something was always going to go wrong. Now I've got a feeling that everything's going to go right. Everything's going to go the way it's supposed to go. Not necessarily right.
Sure.
Every day, we're going to have tough days, we're going to have good days, but everything's going to go the way it's supposed to go.
Sure. So, one of the things that I learned about you through this journey so far is, your hunger for knowledge. That it might be the first time you're picking up a book now, but, you watch and you learn and you kind of want to take in all the information all the time. Did you know that about yourself?
I didn't know that about myself, but I need to be a bit wary as well and not do too much and not do what I can't do, So I kind of I love learning from you guys. It's an amazing experience. Thank you.
It's been fun working so far.
It's been fun, yeah.
So, you talk about all the different things that we've brought into treatment besides just the therapeutic part. Can you kind of go into more of a description of from the setup to the program that's aside from the therapeutic stuff?
We do woodwork on a Tuesday. It's amazing. We've got a guy who runs the AA and NA group in Hartbeespoort. It's Greg. He comes out on a Tuesday, and the guys work with their hands and they build something. So when at the end of the day, holding something tangible, it's amazing. We've got art therapy. We do community service in the Hartbeespoort area. Today the guys went out to the animal shelter and they cleaned the kennels, and they did something good. We make sandwiches, and we on a Thursday as well, and we feed the poorer people in the community. I want to take the guys out soon and clean up some of the litter in the dam. So that's amazing. It's humbling for the guys. Art therapy as well. Nicole takes him, our psychologist takes him for art therapy once a week. And then, there's outings. We take them out every Sunday on
Where do you take them?
different excursions every week.
Like what?
So, the whole thing that we're trying to do, besides peel the layers of the onion off and getting our clients to figure out why they are what they are and why they do what they do, we're also trying to give them other experiences in life so that they can realize that there are other ways of having fun besides getting high, getting drunk, etc. So we take them to the Pilanesberg Game Reserve on open air game drives. This weekend the guys are going quad biking, up the cable car, river rafting, just general hikes. Yeah, it's fun,
I think non-addicts right now, behind your book is about
that. Sounds like a resort. It's not a holiday camp, but it's also not prison. They're addicts, not criminals. They're good people. Not all of them are good people. Like it's, some of them are just, but all of them do need help. And it's not really for us to judge whether they're good people or not. We're here to offer them the help. And basically we're trying to show them, the guys, that there's more to life than getting high and getting drunk and being miserable. We're showing them you can have fun doing other things.
Absolutely. I think that that's a huge missing element of a lot of treatment centers, probably not all, just that when we take away something that's been filling up a huge chunk of our life, now we're left with all of this time and we don't know what to do with it, like we don't really have friends, we don't have hobbies, we don't have any of these things. And so this is really an amazing opportunity.
I think sometimes people take recovery too seriously. There needs to be, and I'm not making light of the situation because it's a very serious situation, but having a laugh, having fun, having a little adventure, having, a bit of a jolt while doing all the serious work I think it's beneficial.
Totally. Tell us about the food.
The food is kosher.
Mm-hmm.
We're not a Jewish facility, we're a kosher facility. We're from Friendly. So it's male only, but the food is kosher. I've hijacked my parents' maid, who's a chef, her mom was with our family. She knows how to cook nice, good, wholesome, homely food that smells great, tastes great, and makes you feel like you're at home almost, when you're taking away somebody's drug of choice, you're taking away their cell phones, you're taking away their computers, you're taking away their everything. A lot of what you can give them is good food, and something. And I know that when I was in rehab, I looked forward to the meals. I wanted seconds. It wasn't. I think the food is very, very important in recovery.
For sure.
In rehabs, yeah.
For sure. What is your hope around this facility?
My hope is for us to have a decent success rate. I want to help people. I understand slowly that not everybody is going to recover. I hope that I can inspire some people through my recovery. I know you inspire people through your recovery. I think it's important I hope for Freeman House to be successful and be around for many, many years. Well, ideally, I hope for Freeman House not to be necessary, but that's pipe dream in the world we live in nowadays. Unfortunately, Freeman House is necessary, and I hope for us to be successful and help as many people as possible.
It almost seems like with your surname, this was destiny, just meant to be. It's because I often talk about how my career chose me. I didn't choose it, and it seems to me that might be the case with you too.
The surname, I think, being Alan Freeman, being an addict, alcoholic, my first 47 years, I designed my career around alcohol, but one side, and now I'm designing my career around the other side of alcohol, helping, getting people better.
I have loved every minute so far of being part of this, from watching it being built from the ground up, and I don't have any fear or doubt at all.
you know what the funny thing is? Neither do I. It's weird. I don't either. I really know this thing is going to work. It's quite weird, you know, because everything I've done up until now in my life, I've always done stuff, but been petrified and nervous and always thought the worst of anything. For the first time in my life, I'm like, I look at this project and I look at the team and I look at the house and I look at everything and I'm like, wow, this is quite something.
For sure. So I know that we're running out of time, and I just really want to thank you for everything so far. And I'm hoping that we can do another one of these in a few months' time.
Definitely.
That we can almost share the journey, because it's a beautiful one and it's inspirational.
Thank you.
So thank you
for
being here today and coming up from Hartbeespoort to do this with me.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.